The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Keith Singer is registered with and securities offered through Investacor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Singer Wealth Advisors, Singer Wealth Management, and Singer Wealth Advisors are not affiliated with Investacor. The opinions and recommendations contained in this broadcast are those of Keith Singer and Singer Wealth Management and not of Investacor. Past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. Upon liquidation, your investment may be worth more or less than its original cost. The investments discussed may be suitable for only some investors.
This is Prosper with Keith Singer. Every day, Keith brings you innovative strategies and world-class investment products to help you secure your financial future. Mr. Singer has appeared on CNBC's Closing Bell. He's been quoted as a financial expert in the Wall Street Journal, U.S. News and World Report, Business Week, Money Magazine, Financial Advisor Magazine, Investment Advisor Magazine, and Kiplinger's. Keith has been helping clients make smart financial choices for over 20 years through his comprehensive wealth management firm, Singer Wealth Management. For the solution to your financial problems, call toll-free 1-866-WEALTHY. That's 1-866-WEALTHY. And now, today's edition of Prosper with Keith Singer.
Hi, this is Keith Singer, attorney, certified financial planner, owner of Singer Wealth Management, serving Ocala, the Villages, and surrounding areas. And we have a special guest today, Moshe Milevsky. How are you?
Great.
Let me give you a proper introduction. I'm very excited that you're joining us. Moshe is a tenured finance professor at Schulich School of Business at York University in Toronto. He's also a member of the graduate faculty in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics. He's published 12 books, over 60 peer-reviewed articles, hundreds of newspaper, magazine columns, and is member of the editorial board of numerous scholarly journals. He's delivered well over 1,000 seminars and keynote presentations around the world. In 2015, Investment Advisor magazine named him one of the 35 most influential people during the last 35 years in financial advice business. You really are big time, so welcome. Thanks for being on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very long introduction. I hope we have time for the interview.
You did a lot of stuff so far. So, all right, you're sort of the guru in retirement planning. You've been a student, even a historian of retirement planning. What are some of the mistakes that you see people making over and over again?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes is unrealistic expectations. Mm-hmm. Unrealistic expectations about what markets are going to do, unrealistic expectations about how much money is needed, unrealistic expectations about how long they're going to live and what it's going to cost. So I think the mistakes aren't necessarily physical. It's not things that people are doing wrong. It's what they're thinking that has to be corrected, and that'll eventually lead to action.
Okay. Let's talk about risk. What are some of the factors you think affect the amount of risk that people should be willing to take?
Well, I think that risk is just such a general word that you have to get down to what type of risk we're talking about. Mm-hmm. There's a risk that people take when they don't insure their house or their condo. So, we are in hurricane season, and some people say, you know what, the premiums are just too expensive, and I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to self-insure. And then a hurricane comes, and they regret not having had the insurance or not having had a lower deductible. That's a type of risk. And whether or not you can take that risk depends very much on your personal balance sheet and the cash that you might have at hand, and whether or not you can sustain certain losses. My point is that risk is such a general concept that it really becomes context specific. Stock market risk. How much risk should you have in your portfolio? You take a vacation and you're trying to figure out, well, should I have additional insurance, and whether I should get a trip cancellation insurance. These all involve risk, and in every one of them you have to take a look and say, can I handle the losses?
So in other words, if someone has substantial assets, let's say a surplus of assets, they can afford to take more risk in the stock market versus someone who's barely going to be able to take the income they need and get by for the rest of their life. Is that kind of what you're saying?
It's the old saying, don't gamble what you can't afford to lose.
Right.
Can you afford to lose that? Not that I'm calling the stock market a gamble, but you do have to understand that markets can go down over prolonged periods of time. If you absolutely need that in order to survive, make sure that it's allocated more safely. And it would apply to any type of risk, not just the stocks.
Another risk that I've heard you talk about is longevity risk. How should we be planning for longevity risk?
Well, longevity is a blessing. Let's start out by saying that. Living a long time, having a prosperous life, a healthy life, a successful life, that's a good thing. That's successful. So attaching the word risk to the word longevity might strike some of your listeners as odd, but the cost of longevity can get expensive. The cost of providing for 20 or 30 or 40 years of retirement can get expensive, and that's why I think that people have to think carefully about that risk, like they do about the other risk, the opposite side, which is early death, mortality risk. You know, we tell young families that have breadwinners, make sure you have some life insurance, whether it's term insurance or whole life insurance or participating insurance. That's a secondary issue, but make sure that your primary breadwinner has some insurance on them to protect them in the event that there's an unexpected increase in the mortality rate, or in plain English, somebody dies early. And it's well understood, and the industry understands that, and advisors understand that. You need to have life insurance in case your life comes to an unexpectedly short ending. And all I'm arguing is that on the other side of the life cycle, as we get older, there's another risk, and that risk is that you might end up living much, much longer than you anticipated, and that could be expensive as well. So I think we have to start thinking about that sort of insurance.
You know, a lot of people that I see know how they plan for longevity risk. They try not to touch their principal, and they try to live just off whatever interest they can make. And they're not necessarily getting to enjoy the capital they've accumulated because they're trying to self-insure against longevity risk.
Well, I'm not sure that just spending dividends and just spending interest is a good way to protect yourself or to hedge yourself against the expenses of longevity. You know, first and foremost, you have to understand that the principal that you're not touching does decay over time as a result of inflation.
Right.
So you might think that you still have the $500,000 or the $1 million in the account and you're not touching it. You might not be touching it, but inflation is touching it. In fact, it's grabbing it every single year, and over time it's really squeezing power out of that portfolio, even though to the naked eye it looks like you haven't touched principal. So I think that's something that's very important to understand for those that implement the strategy of I'll only spend the interest.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I agree. A lot of people have the false notion that if their account value says the same a year or two later, they have the same amount of money, which we agree they don't. I've heard you talk about annuities frequently. Now, although many people enjoy the various features that annuities offer, I meet a lot of people when they hear the word annuities, I hear them say, oh, I heard annuities aren't good. How would you address that type of mentality?
Well, you know, I have a little bit of sympathy for the skeptics, because right now we're at a situation where the word annuity doesn't really mean anything anymore. My point is there are so many different types of annuities. You really have to be more specific in terms of which one you're talking about. It's honestly like someone saying to me, you know, Professor Milevsky, what do you think about funds? Do you think funds are a good idea? Should I have funds? I've heard bad things about funds. Right. And I would say, what funds are you talking about? Are they hedge funds? Venture capital funds, equity funds? Are they funds that invest in Bitcoin? Are they mutual funds? It's just a meaningless word. Right. So the same thing now happens with annuities. People ask me, what do you think about it? I've heard horrible things. What kind are you talking about? Social Security is one of the most popular programs in the U.S. Everybody likes their Social Security check. I have some news for you. That's an annuity. Do you like your Social Security check? Well, if the answer is yes, you like annuities. You have annuities. So if you retire as a teacher or a fireman or a police officer and you get a defined benefit pension plan, that's an annuity. Are you happy with your annuity? There are many different types of annuities, and it's just a meaningless term, and I think that that's the first and foremost problem you encounter when you talk about these things. Nobody really knows what it is that you're describing. So I think you have to go to the next step and say, okay, which particular annuity are you talking about? And then you say, well, you know, in your circumstances, you're right, that would not make sense to you. Or in the other direction, you might say, you know what, that's actually a good idea for you because you don't have that type of longevity insurance.
Right. I think a lot of people also assume that the insurance company must be making money off of them if they give their money to an insurance company, and it's probably cheaper, they're thinking, if they can manage the risk themselves, especially against living too long. How would you respond to this?
I have very little sympathy for people that, say the insurance company is keeping the money. What happens when you buy car insurance or home insurance or flood insurance? The insurance company is making a profit, and for the most part, they're just pooling risk. They're putting a bunch of people like you together in a very, very large pool across the country, and they're making sure that there are winners and losers, and then there's a cross-subsidy there, and yes, they have to make a profit. We can discuss about reasonable profits. It's just that's not how insurance companies operate. They're not sitting and waiting for you to do something stupid so that they make money. It's much more nuanced than that. And to answer your question, there are a lot of people out there that might say, no, I'd rather not. I can do it myself. Okay, I don't think Bill Gates or Warren Buffett need an annuity. I mean, they're not going to run out of money there. Right. Even if they live to infinity, they're going to have it. So they're not good candidates for it, and they would rightfully push back and say, no, Moshe, I don't need any more of this. So it really depends on your personal circumstances. Are you extraordinarily wealthy so that even if you live to 150, you can live beyond your dreams? Then you're right. You don't need any longevity insurance.
Right. Have you ever seen insurance companies misprice annuities? Because you said they make a profit. Do you think they always make profits on all their products?
Look, I don't want to get into actuarial minutia on a radio phone call, right. But, occasionally actuaries, like everybody else, price things in a way that, isn't quite accurate. And, there are opportunities out there. It's no different than someone sitting all day long searching for airfares and saying, oh, my goodness, I got a flight to Israel for $99. And, wow. Yeah, lucky you. You had nothing better to do but to sit all day and look for these things. So, yes, there's occasional mispricing, but generally speaking, airlines make money, and generally speaking, insurance companies do as well.
And I guess besides knowing that you can't run out of money, there might be some peace of mind benefits as well that maybe will help you live longer, right? If you know that if you're not worried about running out of money, that's one less area of stress that could cause you health problems.
Yeah, and let's be clear, nobody runs out of money. I mean, there are 73,000 centenarians in the U.S., and every single one of them gets some Social Security benefit. Right. It might not be enough to have a dignified standard of living. They might not be able to maintain the standard of living they expected when they retired. But, this notion of going to an ATM machine and saying, oh, my goodness, I'm 91 and I ran out of money. I'm a statistic. It's more nuanced than that, and I think that you do a disservice to the purpose and the value of longevity insurance by positioning it as, well, you buy this, you won't run out of money. Well, but what standard of living will I get if I buy this? I think that's really the way to phrase it. But I completely agree with you that that is the role here to make sure that the money lasts as long as you do.
Well, some really good points. I want to thank you for calling us and sharing with us some of your thoughts. Obviously, there's some benefits to having a plan in place that ensures you monthly income. And if anyone wants to discuss that, give us a call at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. Moshe, thank you so much for calling in, and maybe you can call in again another time. That would be great if you could.
Sure, I'd love to. My pleasure.
All right, take care. I'll talk to you soon. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY, to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hey, it's Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. You're listening to Prosper with Keith Singer. Don't turn that radio off. We've got good info for you.
Okay, we are back. This is Keith Singer, and we just spoke to Moshe Milevsky, a very smart finance professor from York University in Toronto. And, he made some interesting points that there are ways to pass on risk to insurance companies. You can pass on risk to the insurance company of dying too soon. You can pass on risk of the insurance company of living too long. And you can also pass on inflation risk. Right now, there are people out there that have money in the bank or invested very, very conservatively that they're making next to nothing. It used to be when your money was in the bank, you made 5%, 6%, 8% even. But those days are long gone, and they may not ever come back. So a lot of people are waiting for those days to come back, but I don't think they're coming back. So each month, each year, each decade, while your money sits in the bank, it has losing buying power to inflation because every year you're going to need to have more money to buy what you needed each year, right? So if you need $100,000 to live this year, to buy all the things you want to buy, to go out to dinner, to pay your rent, you're going to need $102,000 next year. And you're going to need $104,000 the year after that. So if your money isn't growing, it's losing buying power. And fortunately, there are insurance products that you can invest in that will allow you to make more money than inflation and actually exceed inflation. And they come in a variety of shapes and sizes, but the general theme is that you can put your money with insurance companies and they'll pay you interest without stock market risk, without interest rate risk. And the strategies that we've helped so many clients with to do that for people that would have otherwise had money in the bank making next to nothing are specially designed modified endowment contracts. They're not the kind of modified endowment contracts you would get if you're just looking to pass money on to your heirs. Traditionally, that's why people bought modified endowment contracts, to grow money tax-free for their heirs. We're able to specially design modified endowment contracts so that they can actually be a proxy to the cash in the bank that you might have. Because we're able to design these contracts where they're liquid. There's no upfront load to get in. Most modified endowment contracts have an upfront charge and a back-end surrender charge. So if you put $100,000 in and you want your money back in a year, you might only get back $90,000. But that's not how we're designing them. We're designing them so that if you put $100,000 in and you want your money back in the year, you're going to get at least $101,000. But if the stock market goes up, you might have $110,000, right? So the way that you get interest is one of two ways. Either you get the minimum interest of 2.5% currently, or you get what the S&P 500 gets. Whatever's higher, that's what you get. If the S&P 500 went up 6%, you made 6%. If it went up 10%, you made 10%. That's available right now. And so historically, if the market goes up in the up years and you made 10% even, and in the down years you didn't lose, you're going to average 6 to 7%. Now, there are some insurance costs, 1 to 1.5%, but if you know you're guaranteed a minimum of 2.5%, you're going to make at least 1%, with the probability of averaging 5 to 6% after all fees and costs. No stock market risk, no interest rate risk. If you went to the bank and they said, we have a savings account that's paying 0.2, we have a 1-year CD that's paying 1, let's say, or we have another account that's going to pay a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 10, would you put any money in the first two accounts? Of course not. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the ability to make at least what you're making in the bank or in a 1-year CD without having to tie up your money, with the probability that historically every 2 out of 3 years is up and every 1 out of 3 years is down. So if you hold the 3 years, you're probably going to make 18 to 20%, 22%, whatever. And if you hold it 10 years, in a great decade, you'll make 80%. In a bad decade, you'll make 60%, 6 to 8%, and you'll get that money each year. We have clients that have come into our office with large amounts of money in the bank that said, I don't want to risk it, that have made double-digit returns 2 years in a row on money that they would have made less than 1% on. So clearly they were happy that they met us. Clearly they were happy that they got some of our ideas. There's other ideas we gave them that also worked out well. But that's what we do. We try to find strategies that work out the best for our clients. Because if our clients get good results, then we get referrals and our business does well. So that's our business model. Do well for clients so that our business will grow. Now, there's people out there that are short-sighted, that rip off clients and put them in bad things because they're only concerned about tomorrow. But we're concerned about now and 10 years from now and 20 years from now, making sure that everyone's happy, all of our clients are happy, and things work out well. And that's our philosophy. So as regarding this strategy, people say, well, how can you make so much interest on something that's so liquid? Now, clearly, if you go to the bank and your money is liquid and you can take it out tomorrow, you're not going to make any interest. If you said to the bank, here, hold my money for 20 years, they're going to pay you more interest, right? The longer they hold your money, the more that they can pay you. That's just the way it works. Well, with modified endowment contracts, according to their experience, most people aren't taking the money out because of the taxes. If they take the money out, they have to pay taxes. So if you gave $1 million to an insurance company and now after a year you have $1.1 million and you say, I want to cash out and do something else, well, you're going to have to pay taxes. right? So your $1.1 million is going to go down to $1.06 million after you pay your taxes. Now that $1.06 million would have to be in something else that's going to grow better than your modified endowment contract that has $1.1 million in it, right? So most people aren't taking the money out. And if they never take the money out, they never pay taxes. Now, people don't like to be told you can't take your money out or there's a charge to take your money out. So the insurance company realized if we don't tell them that and give them that choice, more people will put money in and it'll be better for everyone. But from an experience standpoint, the insurance company believes that they're going to have your money for a long time and they're able to pay you more interest as if you were as if you were locked in. You're not locked in, but if you were locked in, they could pay you more interest. But they're treating you with returns as if you were locked in, even though you're not, because they know from their experience, most people are going to keep the money there. When you think about required minimum distributions of IRAs, most people never take out money until they have to. They never want to take out money because they have to pay taxes, and therefore the government actually makes you take money out. So imagine if IRAs were tax-free at death and there were no RMDs. No one would ever take money out of our IRAs. They would leave it for their kids. They would spend other money. Why spend money if you take it out and you pay taxes, and if you don't take it out, you never pay taxes? People like to be logical. People like to be efficient. And so when we work with our clients, if they need money to live or for income, we'll create it for them in the most tax-efficient way. And if they've made good money in their modified endowment contract, typically taking it out of that isn't the most tax-efficient way, and we'll get it from somewhere else. So when we meet with someone, we're going to plan for income. We're going to plan for emergency money. Now, if someone needed the money and that's all they had, go ahead, spend it. No problem. You got to pay taxes. But if that's the case, you might not be in a high tax bracket anyway. So we're able to design these contracts that are liquid, where you can make expected returns of 5 to 6%. You're not guaranteed to make 5 to 6, but you're guaranteed to make at least 1 after fees and costs. And you're guaranteed to have a tax-free death benefit depending on your age. That could be twice what you put in. And that's also a long-term care benefit. You know, a lot of people don't like paying for long-term care. What if they never needed it? This is a long-term care benefit that if you never needed it, it's going to go to your heirs tax-free. And if you need it, it's going to go to you tax-free, right? If you can't do 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, they let you take out that death benefit that's twice what you put in or 3 times what you put in, depending on your age, while you're alive. So this does so many things. It's helped so many of our clients be more efficient and combat inflation when they otherwise would have been losing buying power. So if you are tired of losing buying power, or maybe you have money in the stock market that you don't want to risk, or maybe you've recently got out of the stock market because you think it's too high, and you want to make money when the market goes up, that's why you've invested, but you just don't want to lose the next time it goes down, we can do that for you, because that's how these things work. And you might say, well, I'm giving up a lot of upside, but you're giving up all the downside, right? So think about that. You make money when it goes up. You don't lose when it goes down. If you look back at the last 15 years since 2000, you would have done better having an 11% cap and no downside risk each year than actually be invested in the market over the last 15 years. You actually would have made more money than actually being in the S&P 500. Not to mention the fact that so many people who actually invest in the market make bad decisions, pay a lot of fees. They get in when the market's done well. They get out after it's gone down, and they miss rebounds. Studies show that. So most people don't even make what the S&P 500 made. But if you could have had no risk and over the last 15 years actually made more than the S&P 500, that's compelling in our opinion. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for ways where you can make decent returns without fear of loss, without risking anything, without the stress or the worry or the anxiety that comes with it. So that's why people are in the bank, because they don't want the stress or the worry. They don't want to lose money. So what I'm saying to you is we've developed a strategy that can get you a very good return, very attractive return, 5 to 6%. You're not going to break the bank, but you're not going to lose. You're not going to have worry. You're not going to have stress. And if the market winds up doing amazing the next 10 years, then you would have been better off being in the market. But if it has a big down year or a couple big down years, then you would have been better off being in this, not only from a peace of mind standpoint, but from an actual dollar standpoint. So there's no reason to procrastinate. If you've been listening to me talk about this for the last few years, and your neighbors have been making money in their safe investments without tying it up, and you've just been sitting there making nothing in the bank, or you want to take less risk, give us a call at 866-WEALTHY, or go to our website at singerwealth.com. We'd love to chat with you. We can send you a free report. We can meet with you. We can design something exactly for your needs for your situation, call us at 866-WEALTHY. Don't procrastinate. It never pays to procrastinate. Call me. Looking forward to hearing from you. We're going to take a break. We'll be back after these messages.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY, to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hi, this is Larry King, and you're listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
Hi, this is Keith Singer, attorney, certified financial planner, owner of Singer Wealth Management, serving Ocala, the villages, and surrounding areas. We're looking forward to seeing you soon. Call us if you need us at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. Let's talk income, Darren.
Let's. Sounds good.
Historically, the way people generated income was they would have their portfolio,
Right.
and they would just take out 5% a year, right?
Okay.
They got their stocks, they got their bonds. Maybe as they got older, they repositioned things, a little more bonds, a little more cash.
Right.
And, they're just taking their 5% a year.
This was a lot easier when government bonds were yielding 8%, Keith.
Yeah.
If 50% of your portfolio was yielding 7 to 8% in government bonds, managing a portfolio for income was a breeze.
Very true. And on top of that, as people started living longer and interest rates started to fall, logic started to dictate that people needed to decrease their annual withdrawal amount to 3.5% to 4% to ensure a high degree of likelihood that you wouldn't even run out of money.
Right.
So obviously, we don't have 8% interest rate anymore. We can't put half our money in the bank and make 8% or government bonds and make 8%.
That's unfortunate.
And so now a lot of people are having to reduce the amount of money they take out. And your success is predicated on what's called sequence of returns. And it's very, very critical to the success of your portfolio.
Sequence risk, Keith, also called sequence of returns risk, is the risk of receiving lower or negative returns early in a period when withdrawals are made from an individual's underlying investments. The order or the sequence of investment returns is a primary concern for retirees who are living off the income and capital of their investments. It's not just long-term average returns that impact your financial wealth, but the timing of those returns. When retirees begin withdrawing money from their investments, the returns during the first few years can have a major impact on their wealth. Two retirees with identical wealth can have entirely different financial outcomes, depending on when they start retirement, even if the long-term market averages are the same. For example, a retiree starting out at the bottom of a bear market will see the prices of the holdings in his or her portfolio rise when the market recovers. More crucially, though, that retiree will also see a reduction in the overall return of that portfolio because of how much had to be withdrawn in early retirement when prices were down. By contrast, someone who retires when stock prices are high, letting him or her take early withdrawals or fewer equities because they are worth more, will likely have a higher overall portfolio return than the bear market retiree earns. That is because the high stock prices retiree has more equities left in that portfolio to earn returns later in retirement. If there is a major market drawdown in the early years of retirement, it substantially increases the likelihood of running out of money.
That's the problem. You could have all this planning, you'd have beautiful charts, historical returns, this strategy, that strategy.
Right.
But if your portfolio gets clobbered and loses 20 or 30% in the early years and you're pulling money out to live, your retirement's not going to work.
It's devastating.
So the other thing is, people used to plan to retire at age 65 when average life expectancy was 77. On the average, you needed to plan for a 12-year retirement. Now people are living well into their 90s. Now we have to figure out how to create predictable, reliable income streams that will last the rest of our much longer, hopefully, lives.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. A lot of people are living much, much longer than we ever thought. The whole system with Social Security, you pay in, right? And then the government expects to pay you retirement for 12 years. Now they push it back and they're paying you for 20 years, 25 years. It's taxing the Social Security system. So one of the things that we are doing to create additional predictability is we're adding index annuities to some of our client portfolios. Index annuities, the right ones, the ones that are designed correctly, the ones that have the most attractive terms, appreciate when the stock market rises, but they don't lose when the stock market falls or even crashes. There are many different kinds of index annuities, and their expected returns can vary. We tend to look for index annuities that allow for a significant uncapped portion of stock index gains. Think of it like this. If you can get half of what the stock market gets when it goes up, but not lose any of it when it goes down, you can make a decent return without any risk. Unlike a stock investment, when the market crashes, you don't lose. From time to time, there are some pretty attractive index annuities that are available. About 8.5 years ago, my assistant's mother was looking to put $100,000 into a safe growth vehicle without stock market risk. Upon my recommendation, she invested $100,000 into an uncapped indexed annuity, and the account today has grown from $100,000 to $256,000.
Wow.
Without any stock market risk, right? So it made money when the stock market went up, but it didn't lose. Had she invested in the S&P 500, she would have more, right? Because she would have got all the returns.
Right.
But had there been a crash, she might have had more with the index annuity. So an index annuity may earn less than the stock market over long periods of time, but actually might earn more. It depends if there's a big crash or not.
Exactly. Depends on the crash or not.
If the market goes straight up for the next 10 years, you would have been better in stocks.
Absolutely.
If the market has a couple bad years, you would have been better off in index annuities. So we don't know what's going to happen, but most people having all their money in stocks isn't really a viable option anyway.
Absolutely not.
So this provided really good growth without downside risk. Almost any other safe alternative that was available at that time would have yielded far less. Yet had the market crashed, her account wouldn't have grown nearly as much as it had, but it wouldn't have ever lost either. So if you can earn a reasonable return of 5 to 6%, but you don't have to worry about market losses, you can sleep well at night. And if the stock market crashes, it won't affect you, and you will basically eliminate the sequence of returns risk. That could have a very big value.
Even if your index annuity doesn't perform as expected, they will all guarantee a 5% withdrawal for at least 20 years. Conversely, if you're able to own an index annuity that can make 5 to 6% on your account value, you could withdraw 5 to 6% without reducing your principal. In any case, using strategies with limited or no downside helps create much more predictability.
Right, and what you said, just to clarify, Darren, what Darren was referring to is since index annuities can never lose, if you put $100,000 in and you take $5,000 out every year, even if the market's down every year and you make no interest, your $5,000 is guaranteed to last for at least 20 years.
That's right. Thank you, Keith.
Okay. Whereas if you had your money in the stock market, it's not guaranteed to last for any amount of time because
That's right.
You could lose money
At any time.
So if you're the kind of person that really values certainty and contractual guarantees, you should learn about income riders, because income riders can provide predictable guaranteed lifetime income that you can never run out of. Darren, why don't you explain a little bit about what income riders are?
An annuity income rider, Keith, is an attached benefit to a deferred annuity policy that solves for longevity risk by providing a lifetime income stream. Income riders typically have a guaranteed growth rate that can be used for income and can be flexible from a planning standpoint. Most of the time, the income riders on a fixed index annuity will offer a higher contractually guaranteed lifetime payout than the income riders on a variable annuity.
Variable annuities typically have market risk. Your account values can go up or down just like any other investment account. So if there is a big market downturn, there's a greater risk that you could deplete your account value prior to death. This is risky for the insurance company because they still must pay you lifetime income. Whereas fixed or index annuities have no market risk, so there's less of a likelihood that your account value become depleted due to poor market performance. So if you think about it, variable annuities give you much more upside. You could make a lot more money. You could increase your guaranteed income, but there's also the chance that you could deplete your account because the market crashes. Now the insurance company owes you all this income, and they have to pay it. It's not coming out of your account value.
Right.
So with index annuities, since the market can't lose, the insurance company has less risk, and they're willing to give you a higher guaranteed income stream typically than you can get on a variable annuity. So if you're living a long time, if you think you have longevity, it might be in your best interest if your guaranteed income has a chance to increase. So the question is, why would you choose a variable annuity? Because variable annuities offer higher upside potential and a greater possibility that your income go up. Index annuities typically give more upfront guaranteed income from day one. There are a variety of ways to generate income. For those of you that have a large surplus of assets that are able to generate necessary income from a relatively small percentage of their assets, an income rider is less critical. However, even if you aren't worried about running out of income, if you have longevity in your family, an income rider essentially passes the risk of living too long to an insurance company, and that rider could actually have quite a bit of value to you and your family. To summarize, if you have lots of surplus capital, just spend what you need without fear of running out of money. Conversely, if you don't have unlimited funds, conservatively spend 3 to 4% of your investment portfolio so you don't run out of money. Or if you want to spend a little higher percentage, let's say 5% per year, then you need to eliminate sequence of return risk by using safer vehicles like the best performing index annuities. Or if you need to be able to spend 5 to 6% of your assets to make ends meet, or you have longevity in your family, then consider using an income rider that allows you to take a very high income stream without ever running out of income, even if your portfolio becomes depleted. If you've been listening to our broadcast and you're thinking, these guys have some really interesting ideas, then you've been paying attention, which is great. But the only way you and your family are ever going to benefit from our unique strategies and our ideas is to speak with one of us and perhaps get our recommendations specifically tailored to your unique situation. Call us today at 866-WEALTHY. Don't procrastinate. Procrastination never works out in your favor. Can you think of any reason why we shouldn't at least speak? Probably not. Call us today at 866-WEALTHY. We're here to help. We're looking forward to speaking with you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY, to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hey, it's Sean Hannity here. Do not touch that radio dial. You are listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
Hi, this is Keith Singer. We are back. Darren, let's talk about retirement.
Let's.
According to the Insured Retirement Institute, for each of the last 2 years, investors looking to avoid stock market risk have put over $200 billion into index annuities.
It's a lot.
While these products are designed to protect investors' principal, the different offerings may vary significantly from product to product in terms of growth potential. Unfortunately, many insurance agents do not accurately depict how the products work. I have a list of areas that I feel advisors need to do a better job of explaining to better serve the listeners and their consumers and their clients. Let's talk about fees.
That sounds good. I often hear insurance agents claim that unlike the expensive variable annuities and mutual funds, index annuities have no fees. This is a misleading statement. Insurance companies make money selling index annuities and variable annuities. With variable annuities, the fees are disclosed and transparent. With index annuities, the fees are priced into the crediting method. For instance, if you have an annuity that has a 5% cap and the index goes up 10%, you only make 5%. If the insurance company did not have expenses and a profit margin they were attempting to obtain, that cap would be much higher.
So if, for instance, what Darren's saying is if an index annuity, company A has a 5% cap, that's the most you can make against the S&P 500, and company B has a 10% cap, is it fair to say that they both have the same fees?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, one is priced cheaper. One's priced to pay you more interest than the other.
That's correct.
But the fees are built into how much interest they let you make. So you just don't know exactly how much the insurance company is making. Now, ultimately, what you care about is what's in it for you. What do you get out of it?
That's right, yeah.
I mean, you don't really want to base your decision on how much money a company is making. You want to base your decision on what's the benefit to you. Now, also, a lot of agents, insurance agents, typically the ones who aren't licensed to sell investments, who aren't registered with FINRA, say something like variable annuities are horrendous, never ever buy one. But you have to be wary of general statements like that. There have been times in the past that variable annuity offerings were much more attractive than they are today in terms of benefits and costs. But I'm seeing the pendulum swing.
Yeah, I agree, Keith.
I'm seeing some variable annuities recently that have come out that have very high guaranteed income levels, and they heard the message, we want to pay less fees. That's where the industry is going right now. You're seeing a lot of products are coming out with super low fees on the variable annuities. So if you didn't like variable annuities because of the fees, you might want to rethink that, because there's some companies that have come out with much lower fees attached to their variable annuities. So stay away from general rules like never buy this or always buy that, or never own a variable annuity, or only buy index annuities. It really depends on the terms of the contract, right?
That's right.
Every contract is unique. You have to evaluate the contract not by the name of the product, by the terms of the contract, right? How much benefit are you getting? What's the cost to you? Is it a good deal or not a good deal? And we analyze that for our clients, and we try to find only the very best deals for our clients. Now, obviously, one of the things you'll hear people say is index annuities allow you to participate in the market when it goes up, but not when it goes down. That sounds phenomenal, doesn't it?
That sounds fantastic, of course.
Now, for index annuities and index modified endowment contracts, this is true, but they're not all created equal. If you want the highest rates of interest credited to your accounts, you need to understand which crediting methods are going to work the best, okay? Right now, there's a movement towards the uncapped index, okay?
Right.
And what index they're using is typically not an all-stock index like the S&P 500, because insurance companies can't give you the full upside uncapped of the S&P 500 with no downside risk. There's not a way to do it.
No, absolutely not.
But there are indexes that have come out that are designed to be very, very stable, very low volatility. And indexes that have low volatilities, insurance companies are able to hedge that and actually pay you, in some cases, more than 100% of the returns of a low volatility index.
Which is pretty good.
Now, a low volatility index probably won't make as much as, let's say, the S&P 500. But if you're getting a low cap against the S&P 500 versus an uncapped low volatility index, that might give you a lot more interest.
And you don't have, especially in the low volatility index, you don't have to worry about the ups and downs and the swings of the market.
Well, yeah, in an index annuity, your principal is guaranteed regardless of how volatile the index is. But there are some very interesting strategies out there right now. For instance, one of the indexes is called the Mosaic Index.
Oh, yeah.
Very diversified. It's been averaging about 6% a year. And you can actually get, I think, 120% of the returns of that index right now without any downside risk.
Which is phenomenal.
Another thing we're hearing is people say guaranteed returns of 5, 6, 7%.
Yeah, right.
I cringe when I hear people promise prospective clients 5, 6, or 7% on an index annuity. Because if there were products that were offering a guaranteed return on your money of 5 to 7%, don't you think I'd be talking about it?
Absolutely, we'd be talking about it.
Why wouldn't I be talking about it? Insurance companies call me all the time begging me to talk about their products. They know I have a wide audience.
Right.
They know I have a lot of clients. They come to me all the time. I know everything out there that exists, I know about. And if there was something that was guaranteed 6 or 7%, I would know about it, and I'd be talking about it.
And you'd be offering it.
So the thing is, income riders are a calculation that's used to determine how much income you can take each year from your account value without running out of money. Okay?
It's a little confusing,
It is
though, the
confusing.
calculation.
Because if someone says you're guaranteed 6% growth, what does that mean to you?
That, I'm assuming I'm going to get 6% on my money.
Right, but that's not what it is. Income riders, the amount of income that you can take out increases by 6%. But your account value doesn't necessarily increase by 6%. In fact, it won't. In fact, the insurance companies that offer the highest guaranteed income typically have very weak crediting methods. You don't make a lot on the interest that on your account value.
That's right.
So if someone's allowing you to believe you're making 6% guaranteed, even though they know you're not, they may have disclosed it to you. They might have said, oh, this is for income. But knowing that you don't really grasp it, but they allow you to believe that you're making a guaranteed 6%, is that someone you want to work with?
No, it's deceptive. It's misleading.
Do you want to work with someone
not.
who's getting your business by deception?
No.
Okay, so don't work with someone who's deceiving you. It's not going to end well, all right? By the way, I'm not a big proponent of using income riders on index annuities. Insurance companies charge you roughly an extra 1% interest, and many people don't wind up using them, and those that do are only spending their own money. Very few of them are projected to live long enough to use up all their own money so that they can actually receive a benefit from the insurance company. Another thing I want to talk about is bonuses. A lot of agents tout bonuses. And most people that I come in contact with, they understand that there's no free lunch. Insurance companies not giving away free money, right?
That's right.
And they always know if there's a bonus, there's a catch. Either there's an extra charge for it, or the interest isn't going to be as good. Insurance companies would love to get you to get your money and pay you next to no interest if they could.
Oh, absolutely.
They want to pay you as little as possible. But if they say to you, hey, here's a product, it's paying no interest, you're not going to put your money with them, right?
No, of course not.
But if they say, here's a product that has a big bonus, you might not pay as much attention to what the interest is.
It's very tempting.
That's what they're hoping. So the insurance company gets to induce you to put your money with them, and a lot of times give you a worse deal than if you had no bonus. And think about it. If you're gonna rent an apartment and one landlord's offering a first month's free rent,
Right.
and the other apartment's not offering that, does the apartment with the first month's free rent automatically beat the other apartment?
Absolutely not, but it sounds like it does.
Well, you're like, wow, that's a good start. All things being equal, if you can get the first month's free rent, that's good. But it's never all things equal.
Exactly.
Typically, the apartment that has the first month's free rent, they need to do that because it's a bad location. They can't get people to rent the apartment otherwise.
Right.
The apartments that are in demand, that are valued, that are the best deals, they don't need to give away a free month's rent. So it's same way with these kinds of products. It's a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. Obviously, if you get a bonus and you die, you get to keep it generally, right?
Right.
So that's one exception. But if you're going to keep it for a 10-year term, you want to know how much money you're going to make over the 10 years. And we prefer products that can make 5, 6, 7% a year on the average. Not guaranteed. We said there isn't a guaranteed return.
That is correct.
But we have clients, just like I mentioned, the client who put $100,000 in and now it grew to $265 8 years later, that, is making about 10%.
There is the potential.
Right? So
Absolutely.
there's a potential for the best index annuities to deliver really nice interest. Another thing that people get confused about is something called a monthly sum method. Very tricky.
Yes,
And
very tricky.
Let's say there's a monthly sum where you have a 2% monthly cap. That means the most you can make each month is 2%. I've heard agents say, hey, you can make up to 2% a month. That means in a really good year, you can make 24%. You're like, wow, who wouldn't be happy with 24%?
Of course. Sounds fantastic.
The problem is, in the negative months, they subtract an uncapped month. So if you lose 10% one month, it's going to take you 5 months just to get back to zero for the year.
Right.
Typically, if you have a 2% monthly cap or less, you're going to earn zero interest about 2 out of 3 years. Zero interest.
That doesn't sound very good.
Because typically there's going to be a big down month that ruins the year. So that's not a method that I would recommend, a 2% monthly cap. Now, if you had a 4 or 5% monthly cap, it probably would work out pretty good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But obviously there's going to be that outlier. Once every 10 years you made 12% on a really good year, the market went up. But there's going to be so many years that are zero, it's going to average out to about 2% a year. So, the index annuities are tricky. If you want to discuss how they might benefit you, or if you're looking at one, or someone pitched you with one, and you want our opinion on if it's good or not, I'm happy to tell you. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. If you have a variable annuity, this is something we help a lot of people with.
Absolutely.
A lot of people come to our office with their variable annuities. Maybe they don't talk to their agent anymore.
Right.
They're not sure how to manage it. As a courtesy to all of our listeners, we will help you allocate your variable annuity, and we will educate you on the benefits of it at no cost to you.
And just do a complimentary analysis for you.
We'll show you, hey, this is the best sub-accounts in this variable annuity. We know them all. We're familiar with them. Here's your income rider. Here's how to maximize the value of your income rider. You probably want to turn it on at this age rather than that age, or in this date, because that's going to maximize the value to you and your family. So if you have a variable annuity and you're not happy with the service you're getting on it, we'd be happy to help you as a courtesy to you. The following is my philosophy. I want to get back to income riders and index annuities. Because index annuities mitigate your downside risk, they're not going to go down if the stock market crashes at all. At no additional cost, we mentioned this earlier, you can withdraw 5% a year without running out of money for the next 20 years. And there's probably going to be some interest. There's probably going to be some up years. So with index annuities, I'm generally not adding income riders. And if you do add an income rider, you better have a plan to turn it on in time so that you actually have a chance to get value for it.
Right,
because
exactly.
if you never turn it on, you wasted a bunch of money. And if you turn it on too late before you had a long enough time to get income, to get all your money out, then you didn't get any value for that income rider either. So I typically recommend to our clients the index annuities with the highest growth potential, not the contracts with the highest paying income riders. If a product includes an income rider at no additional cost, that's fine, but I'm typically not advising my clients to pay extra for one. Now, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of indexes. We talked about this briefly. It can be complicated. What you might want to avoid is a 5% risk-controlled index. Those indexes tend to get your money into cash and bonds when the stock market goes down.
Right.
And they tend to put you back in after it's gone up. So the returns on those are actually very, very low if you look historically. It's very hard to make money on a 5% risk-controlled index. There's so many different moving parts on index annuities and variable annuities. You really need someone who has expertise in that area if you want to make the smartest choices. We happen to feel we have a lot of expertise in that area. If you'd like us to review your situation, how you might want to reduce the risk in your portfolio, how you might want to prepare for the next market correction, how you want to maximize the value of the riders you already own, call us at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. We would be delighted to speak with you. Happy to talk to you, meet with you at no cost to you. Again, it all starts with a phone call. Otherwise, we can't help you. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're looking forward to helping you make very smart choices about your money. Again, call us at 866-WEALTHY. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY, to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
This is Mario Gabelli. You've been listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
You have been listening to Prosper with Keith Singer. For the solution to your financial problems, call toll-free 1-866-WEALTHY. That's 1-866-WEALTHY. And tune in again at this same time for Prosper with Keith Singer.
Keith Singer is registered with and securities offered through Investacor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Singer Wealth Advisors, Singer Wealth Management, and Singer Wealth Advisors are not affiliated with Investacor. The opinions and recommendations contained in this broadcast are those of Keith Singer and Singer Wealth Management and not of Investacor. Past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. Upon liquidation, your investment may be worth more or less than its original cost. The investments discussed may be suitable for only some investors.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, asking you to support adoption by purchasing a Choose Life license plate from your county tag office. You know, it costs a lot to give a child life. Many times a woman is forced to make a bad choice because of financial pressures. Help save the lives of the unborn children by aiding women whom choose life instead of abortion. Take a stand for life. Purchase your Choose Life license plate today. For more information, go to chooselife.org or call 352-624-2854.
Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you. If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to the people that give you the regenerative medical solutions to your pain. Regenetic. First and third Thursdays, 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. The Source. Regenetic.com.
On top of the world, Ocala's premier active adult community is a leader in the industry in both recreational activities and amenities. They utilize superior construction methods to deliver energy-efficient homes. Tune in Wednesday at 9 a.m. Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest to discuss all the exciting new things On Top of the World can offer to current and prospective new residents. So be sure to tune in Wednesday at 9 a.m. on Top of the World. You deserve the world. Direct Connect to UCF, where students who attend the College of Central Florida and graduate with an AA or articulated AS degree are guaranteed admission to the University of Central Florida. Success coaches are ready and waiting to assist you in designing an educational plan that is right for you in any of their locations across Central Florida. Remember, connecting is easy and guaranteed. Find out more at directconnecttoUCF.com.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to the people that give you the regenerative medical solutions to your pain. Regenetic. First and third Thursdays, 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. The Source. Regenetic.com.
This is the beat of a normal heart. Now this is the beat of a heart of someone who just snorted or injected or smoked methamphetamine. Why? For a high. And this is what happens to that normal heartbeat. It's irregular, it's racing, it's why it's called speed, and it can do bizarre things to our heads. It can make us aggressive and violent. We can start hallucinating and end up doing some serious damage to people. Call 1-888-8-NO-METH today for more information on methamphetamine. That's 1-888-8-NO-METH.
A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free Florida and America.
On top of the world, Ocala's premier active adult community is a leader in the industry in both recreational activities and amenities. They utilize superior construction methods to deliver energy-efficient homes. Tune in Wednesday at 9 a.m. Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest to discuss all the exciting new things On Top of the World can offer to current and prospective new residents. So be sure to tune in Wednesday at 9 a.m. On Top of the World. You deserve the world.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
The entire world watched. They watched each step down the rungs of that small ladder, one after another.